Hello, welcome to day one of God-led business. It is such an honor to be here. I want you to take a moment as you enter this sacred space. Think about, like, metaphorically leaving your shoes at the door, leaving your day at the door, leaving your troubles, whatever they may be. We know they exist. God knows they exist. Whatever is weighing on you right now, I ask that just for a while, just for a little while, you set that down. You allow yourself to roll your shoulders up and back. You take a deep breath in and out. With every inhale, you inhale love. You inhale peace. You inhale a holy, solid, powerful foundation built on God and God's love. And you exhale all the strife. Exhale all the heaviness, all the limitations. Exhale all the ways in which you think you're crumbling right now. So, take a few moments to do that. I know today is summer solstice. I know that it's an auspicious day, and we are at the halfway point from a scientific standpoint. We are at the halfway point of the year. Today is supposed to be the longest day, but the longest day and the shortest night. But the energies are ultra powerful, as always. Every day is a powerful day. God made sure of it. Today, especially, if you've been feeling any heaviness, if you've been feeling any density come up, if you've been feeling like things are happening way too fast, or that everything's crumbling and coming together at the same time way too fast, you are not alone. You are right on track. Truthfully, I had half a mind of not even doing this class today, because it's been an overwhelming few weeks. It's been an interesting year so far. It's been an interesting month so far. Happy solstice, happy all the things, happy June, happy everything. Welcome to my corner of the internet. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the Elixir space. A space where we actually keep it real, because let's face it, behind every business, there's a human and several humans that come together to make it happen. A space where the village is very much alive and well and thriving. A space where we all are here together. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanya Jane. I'm not going to bore you with my last name, but my name is Tanya Jane. I am the founder and CEO and creative director at Elixir Media Co. We are a holistic marketing and branding and creative studio, and we work with revolutionary God-led leaders so that we can amplify their expressions, their stories, their mission and message, and simplify how they show up and share out there. That's a Cliff Notes version on what we do, who we are. We are a very beautiful team of sacred 7 people, and myself included. That would be 8, but there are 7 incredible humans on this team that are part of my core day-to-day. And apart from that, we do have incredible creative partnerships and collaborations with some other local creatives to me. So they are I call them the creative team. They help out with our brand photography and videography campaigns, marketing campaigns. And that is where we would travel locally if you are in Canada, so nationally, or internationally. We would either come to you or we would have you come to us, and we could essentially shoot a whole campaign day with you and stuff like that. What we do inside Elixir, we offer workshops such as this one, free workshops from time to time, where we gather with the greater community and come together to learn, to grow, to hold space for each other. We offer retreats and events. And also, of course, if you're here with us in some way, shape, or form, chances are you're either part of the team or you're a fellow service provider who heard of God-led business, or you're a friend, again, a biz bestie, or we've met in the internet streets and interacted in some way, shape, or form, or you're a client that's here. Welcome to this space. Whatever your reason for being here today, I'm so grateful you're here and you're giving me the next half an hour of your time. I want to open up this space with one question, okay? Write this down. What is the reason that you started your business? Why did you start your business? Why did you start your mission, your brand? Why did you decide to do something about it, about the talents that you were blessed with? And who are you? Who are you, and why did you choose to do this? If you could get that for me while we're going, that would be incredible. Today, day one, is more of a show and tell. It's very conversational. This entire workshop is going to be very conversational. I want to set the tone. Today, day one, we're going to explore a little bit about me, my journey, why God-led business, what's behind the name, what was my journey and all the things leading up to it, what is my testament, okay? So that's what we're going to explore today. What changed for me? What have I noticed in my life, but also in business? It is my hope that by sharing this journey with you, you not only gain a better understanding of who I am as a person and what Elixir is as a brand, but my hope and my desire, most importantly, by doing this, is that you actually see aspects of yourself and you recognize your own power and your own unique gifts and leadership and creativity that you've been blessed with. So, I'm having hot chocolate, but it's a really hot day. Total side note. I shared at the beginning of this class that I was very reluctant to even do this class today. I was very hesitant to do this class today because part of me was like, what if no one comes? That's just the ego talking. The other part of me was thinking, holy shit, Tanya, you've actually not really promoted this hardcore the way you thought you wanted to. Okay, fact, fair. I've promoted it and whoever's meant to be here is here. Another fact, today's solstice and everyone is out somewhere celebrating, and that's okay. If this had to happen last year, if this had to happen the year before or the year prior, like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to show up. I wouldn't have been able to be calm and to sit here grounded and just share with you. Because my ego was running the show so hard. And not in a arrogant, selfish, or whatever, like in a conceited, condescending manner. It's just the ego was running the show because I cared. I cared what others thought of me to a huge degree. I cared what others thought of me every step of the way. From the thoughts that I thought, the things I allowed myself to share out with anybody, the emotions I allowed myself to feel, how I was going about my day, what I was doing. I was living in a very permissive energy my whole life. And if you know me deeply, if you're part of the Elixir team, and most of the team knows me deeply, parts of this story and this journey. So, why God-led? I believe that we are each guided, divinely guided, by Creator, by God. If you're in my house, if you're in my space, I'm always going to refer it as God. You can believe whatever you choose to believe. I have absolutely no problems with that. I respect every single person's belief and faith. But I am going to reference it as God in my interactions, in my speech, in my words. Because to me, it's God. So, why God-led business? God-led business, I haven't shared the whole story yet. You've seen glimpses of it on social media. God-led business came to me on the heels of my miscarriage. About 4 months ago. Actually, yeah, about 4 months ago. In the first week of March, actually. Last week of February is when I was informed that I'm going to miscarry my baby. And that later that same week, of course, when it was March, is when I actively was miscarrying. I was actively miscarrying, and I was plugged into a client call as client support. And I had taken my laptop with me into my washroom. And there I was seated on the washroom floor because for some reason, my brain and my body thought that I couldn't take time off from work. For some reason, my brain and my body, as I was actively miscarrying my child, thought, I am not worthy to take a day off. I'm not worthy of taking this time off to just be and to allow myself to move through this. And so I could feel the anger swirling through me from my root to my sacral, all the way up my solar plexus, my throat. And as the anger was swirling up, I literally was asking out loud, how did I get here? When did I get here? How did the business even look this way where I can't even actually take time off? And then to that respective client I was working with, how did their business get to the point where one person was responsible for doing the role of 5 different people? And how on earth did I get to the point of allowing that to happen? Where I couldn't take time off because I didn't have anybody to be able to call in for help, to offload some work to, because I wasn't charging enough. Yeah, it was just a big cycle. And I'm trying not to say certain things just out of respect and privacy, but I'm trying to keep it very much to the lessons that I gained in that moment. I can tell you this, I was very angry in that moment. And what transpired next was me, of course, talking to my biz besties, talking to the team, to some of the Elixir team, Allison, June, they're in here. And I was sharing with them what I was going through. And in the next moment, it felt like an ayahuasca ceremony on steroids, except it wasn't ayahuasca, it was a miscarriage. And it was painful, and it was horrible, and it was really sad, and I felt like I was breaking chains. I could feel chains being broken in my body. I almost went into a time loop. In a moment, I could see just how far back this loop of people pleasing, code switching, and constantly playing the model citizen and constantly betraying yourself, betraying your body, betraying your boundaries, betraying your soul, betraying God, in whose likeness you're made. I saw it all very clearly. And I actually reached out to my dad, whom I haven't spoken to in a long time. For context, my parents split up when we first moved to Canada. That was almost 22 or 23 years ago. And it has been almost a decade since I talked to my dad. We've healed our relationship since, but we haven't actually talked. So in this particular moment, there I am sitting on the floor, miscarrying, actively, still plugged into client calls and client work and designing and branding and all the things, doing all the things. And I reached out to my dad and I'm like, Dad, can I ask you a question? What were your experiences working in the Middle East as an Indian man? What were your experiences here as an immigrant in Canada, as a South Asian immigrant in Canada, working in Canada? I don't know what prompted me to ask him that question, but it came from a deep, visceral part of me. Because in that moment is how I knew this pattern, this loop goes generations deep, lineages deep. And the answers that he gave me next, it brought everything full circle and home. It reaffirmed so much that I already knew to be true, but it brought back the pieces of my story, my journey, my ancestry, my lineage, my heritage, pieces that are within my bloodline that I knew them deep within, but hearing him say it just affirmed it. And it finally felt, holy shit, there's a reason why I am the way I am. And this makes sense. The next day, I woke up and I shared with my team. The team was still coming together at this point in time. 3 months ago, the Elixir team was still slowly coming together. It was Allison and myself and June. And of course, I had my eye on the rest of the team and I knew who I wanted to work with and call in and all of that stuff. But something about going through a life-changing event like a miscarriage really makes you rethink and reevaluate everything in life. We all have those moments. It could be loss of a relationship. It could be a physical loss from your body. It could be the loss of a person that you love. It could be the loss of a job or an opportunity. Loss looks different for everyone. Grief looks different for everyone. For me, this grief was twofold. In this grief is where I found my strength. In this grief is where I found my power and my healing and a deeper, deeper awakening and becoming. So at this point in time, 4 months ago, it was myself and Allison, and then slowly we added Colleen to the mix and Joelle. These women have been in my orbit for a long time, and it just organically started coming together. So I messaged the team the next day, right? After I had my epiphany, if you will, after I had my conversations with my dad, all of that, I messaged the team and I'm like, I think we're going to have a class called God-Led Business. And it wasn't even so much I think we're going to have a class called God-Led Business. It was very much me almost ranting, but also beneath every rant, there's truth to it, right? But beneath every piece of anger or sadness, there is truth attached to it. It came off the heels of my miscarriage, off the anger that I felt at the situation, at the systemic injustices, if you will, that we continue to perpetuate, no matter where you come from. And I was asking Allison, whatever happened to people having God-led businesses? At what point did we sell our souls out for the fame, the popularity, the glitz and the glam and the glitterati and the smoke and mirrors, that we forgot our mission, that we forgot our mantle, that we forgot who we are, who we've been created to be? At what point did that happen? And so that was the origin of God-led business. There's so much more coming in store for God-led, the movement, God-led business, because this is so powerful and it goes beyond me. For me, what changed, I look at my life as a clear before and after. A clear before my miscarriage and after my miscarriage. Before my miscarriage, I had already gone through a horrible dismantling of my old brand, which used to be called Warrior Life Creative. A horrible but much needed dismantling of my old brand. Before my miscarriage, I was continuing to attract energy vampires, if you will. I was continuing to attract people that continued to suck the creative life juice out of me. And if you're here, you're a done-for-you service provider, you've felt this. And I know you have. I was continuing to attract people that wouldn't respect my boundaries, that I couldn't always wholly be myself around. I know they loved me, I loved them, and I know we each had our own growth journey to go through. But in those moments, there are certain red flag, nightmare, Voldemortas, as we like to call them, that were very eye-opening. And it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time in my life that I had noticed that I continued to have people that would yell, be emotionally abusive, be verbally abusive in a way. Every freaking red flag you can find. It wasn't the first time. There'd been so many situations, and I understood last year that this was a karmic loop. This was a loop that I was trying to close and heal, actively pulling out the swords that had been stabbed in me over and over again, energetically, metaphorically, emotionally. And I was pulling it out and pulling it out. So 2022 served as a correction. 2022 served as a dismantling and a holy correction for me. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I didn't really want to host this class today. I was having so much resistance to it. And I also know why I was having resistance to it. Because this time last year, life looked and felt very different. This time last year, I was dealing with my entire world crumbling. This time last year, I was suicidal. I lost my voice. Like, I literally had no voice. I had so much pain in my lungs, in my chest. I couldn't talk. I literally lost my voice for 6 weeks. Literally. But quite truly, I had lost my voice for a long time ago before that. This was just the buildup. I also temporarily lost my hearing around this time. I was at a client retreat the week of the solstice. I thought my marriage was going to end. There's still that. I was dealing with massive client refunds just because there was a lot. There was a lot happening. There was a lot shifting. I was burnt out mentally, emotionally, physically. I was literally pushing myself to keep going. And the only way that I kept going, the only reason why I kept going, the only way that I made it through was because of God and the incredible guides, guardians, angels that He sent my way in the form of biz besties, in the form of opportunities. When one door closed, another was opening in that same moment. When things were collapsing at hyper speed or slow motion, things were coming together in that exact same breath. The dualities were real. It was a walk on water and walk in the fires year. And it was a refinement. It was the year of being refined. And I continued on that, shedding one after the next as the year went on. By December 2022, I didn't have anything more left in me to give. Like, I was done. I was burnt out. Like, I was done. Even if I didn't vocalize it actively, I was done. Like, my body couldn't keep going on. And so I took Christmas break off for the first time in years. And it was during that break that my nervous system really started to calm down. Okay? And it was during that time that, of course, I conceived. Of course, I got pregnant. Of course, right? Because we are resting. And the moment I found out that I was pregnant, every bone in me kicked into like high gear. Okay, we gotta be boundaried. We gotta bring on the team. We gotta ensure everything is in place. And we gotta make the space. We gotta create the space. We gotta prepare the altar, prepare the space. And then, of course, I got the news of the miscarriage a few months later. The day that I got the news that I'm going to miscarry my pregnancy was the same day that I actually had an incredible call with a mentor that I look up to dearly, Jessica Zweig. Her book, Simply Be, changed my life. I've been reading that for almost 2 years. And earlier this year, like at the beginning of the year, she hosted a workshop. And it was in that workshop that I entered myself to win a business coaching call with her and her team. And I ended up winning that call. What are the odds? God is good. So I ended up winning that call. And that call took place on that day in February, the last weekend of February. No sooner did I get off that call with her and her team, where we mapped out the entire Elixir brand hologram, everything that's coming through in the brand this year. I received a call from my doctor saying, we need you to come in. And when I went in, of course, they relayed the news that you're going to miscarry this baby at some point this week or the week after. And it felt like the wind got knocked out of me. Talk about dualities in that exact moment. One moment you're so happy and elated, and the next moment it's like getting the wind sucker punched out of you. So, of course, I come home, I relay the news to my husband and to our family, and I relay the news to my clients, because this was also the time that I had taken on a couple of new projects, and then I had some current ongoing clients. I relayed the news to them. I was just very radically candid and transparent. And then I let my body and time and grief do its thing. Does the grief go away? No, it doesn't. But the grief does make you better in your own way, in its own way. That time of me miscarrying, of me feeling that anger as I was miscarrying, it actually served as a time for deep reflection, reassessment of my business structures, of my business offerings, of our business standards, of what we offer clients, what we don't offer clients, who we're keeping on the team, who we're not keeping on the team, who we want to work with, who we don't want to work with. Everything revolved around this question: how do I want my life to feel? Does this bring me closer to God or take me farther from God? Does this bring me closer to my truth or take me farther from my truth? Does this feed my soul or does this exploit my soul? And every decision in the brand is made from that space. The last 4 months, I have received opportunities. I always received incredible opportunities, God's grace. It is a testament. But especially in these last 4 months, I saw things happening at a rapid pace and speed. Because that's what happens when you get into full alignment, when you get into vertical alignment. Okay? God-led business, the awakening for me came about while I was miscarrying. It's when everything that you've kept pent up within you for years and years, the things that you've noticed from the time that you've grown up to the time that you, moved through school and university and work and business, everything just it was like a dam had burst open. And once it burst open, there was no going back. I came out of my faith closet, y'all, on Instagram. I've always talked about God. I've always talked about my faith. I've always been open about it. But I just felt so compelled and propelled to just go and be loud about it and go share. Because you know what? Even if you don't resonate with what I share, that's okay. You're going to feel the truth in it of love and oneness. And it's going to land for you in some way or the other. It doesn't have to land for you in the way that I say it, but your body will know when it hears my words, when it hears certain things, when it reads certain things. So I started to really be loud about my message. I started to really share the disparities that I witnessed as a child growing up in the Middle East, the disparities that I witnessed my parents go through, the disparities that I'd witnessed being a brown immigrant here in Canada, the disparities I noticed working in corporate, and then seeing that same thing mimicked in business. I started to speak out loud about the ways I noticed toxic patriarchal practices seep their way through the coaching industry, through the done-for-you industry. I started to speak up about practices that I've noticed in corporate. We all left corporate for a reason. Seep their way into coaching, seep their way into mentorship, and the way service providers are treated. God-led business, for me, is a testament not only of my own life and of the many miracles I've witnessed in my own life, which I will share about those as the days go. I don't want to bore you with everything on day one. But I will say this. Every time you find yourself at rock bottom, that's not rock bottom. It might feel like rock bottom in that moment, and then you're going to hear a voice that says, not today. It is not your time to go yet. These were the words that were said to me by a really close friend of mine, Jen Rabanillo. She's a wonderful person. Last year when I was suicidal, I heard the words elixir whispering somewhere, somehow in the night. And I was like, okay, I'm on a lot of meds right now. But okay, I'm hearing this. And then I went and dug up my old journals, my poetry books that I'd write poetry in. And the word elixir was there, the actual spelling. And it hit me, holy shit. Elixir, we know who we are. Elixir, see yourself elixir. You are your healing. You are the seer. You are the one that God has chosen for whatever your mission is in life. So go be that. You know, what I've noticed over and over again in my life is this. It's a conversation around boundaries. It's a conversation around leadership. It's a conversation around communication and tonality and vocal cadence and emotions, mastering your emotions. And it is not the first time I ever started to think about anything like this was when I was a child. When I would notice my parents fighting, when I would notice things breaking in the house, when I would notice yelling taking place, when I would physically get hurt, or either get hurt because I was trying to defend and protect, or I would just be the one whose turn it was for that to happen. And then I noticed this pattern in friendships. I noticed this pattern in work situations. And I always found myself dancing between let's speak up and out, and then let's shrink back. Let's speak up and out, and then let's shrink back. And this dance continued over and over again until the dismantling happened last year. And then, of course, the miscarriage happened this year. Every year since I started my business has been a slow unearthing, a slow return to the roots, a slow return to my truth, to who I am. And if you find yourself in this journey, if you see any parallels in your story with mine, know that all our threads are woven together. I found myself in positions of leadership from a very young age, places where I had no business being. Because how you show up matters. How you speak matters. Who you are matters. What you tolerate and don't tolerate matters. What you stand for and won't stand for matters. And truthfully, I don't know about you, but I am so done with lukewarm. I am so done with fluff and lukewarm and smoke and mirrors and flashy marketing and the glitterati. Like, I am really done with that, okay? I am done with us trying to make fame, money, titles, people our God, when there's no need for all of that. There is a creator that exists, whatever you believe him to be or her. Okay, to me it's God. There is a God that exists. So can we go back to being who we were created to being? One with God, unity, the unity codes, unity consciousness, oneness, love, divinity, walking together. I want you to close your eyes as I read this. Because truthfully, if you're here, it's because you're tired of seeing the same thing happen. And there is a shift that has happened in the industry. There's a shift that is happening in the collective. And if you're here, we're here to bring it in. And we're here to lead it. Okay? And we're here to come together, not fight against each other, but we're here to really come together and work with each other so that we can all grow together. Okay? You've witnessed the feast and the famine. You've witnessed the soul hollowing, forever searching for the magic potion, the cure, the glory, the healing, the elixir from another but yourself. Forever placing people on pedestals and performing when your spirit is so tired and weary, but your palms keep reaching and your feet keep chasing. Truly, it is within you because God made sure to anoint you with your mission, your anointment, your mantle, your calling, your purpose, your gifts, your talents, things that you do that no one else can do the way you do. It is time to stop searching outside of yourself and outside of God, and it's time to return to who He created you to be in your actions and your communication, your leadership, your craft, your life, and your business. It is time for a new way forward where the service provider also recognizes the leader that they're here to be, and they move and breathe as such. A time where the mentors and coaches reverence the team that is here, the team that helps them build their business, the team that is the very foundation of their business, without which they wouldn't really have a business. It is time for a way that God is part of you, a part of your leadership, a part of your revolutionary leadership. It is time for a reset, a resurrection, a paradigm shift. Okay? God-led business, it's an evocative exploration where we explore what it means to be a visionary CEO. Because truthfully, those are just 3 words or 3 letters on your S-Corp papers or your article of incorporation if you're here in Canada. Anyone can be a CEO, but not everyone is a revolutionary leader. And being a CEO goes beyond sending your team welcome flowers, by the way. Come on. Okay, we know better. Do better. Everyone can own a business and make money online or even offline, but not everyone understands what it means to be a divinely anchored business owner that is a steward of love, of wealth, of mastery, operating in divinity at every step of the way. Leading yourself, leading a team, fostering a leadership culture goes beyond doing shout outs on the internet or sending welcome flowers or like flashy handbags or like whatever. It goes beyond all that, okay? It's actually an art form. And contrary to Sun Tzu, who actually wrote the book called The Art of War, it doesn't have to be a war, nor does it have to be a war on your art, to quote Stephen Pressfield, okay, who wrote the book The War of Art. Your leadership as a CEO, your leadership as a business owner gets to be a liberated, sanctified, and holy ground, a sanctified ground where everyone moves power in power, equal, but still unique and powerful in their genius, in their expansion, in their mastery, where you no longer feel like indentured fucking workers, okay? What is up with that? And that's a conversation for like day 3, but it's coming. God-led business is here for the artists, the creatives, the healers, the leaders coming together, where we honor the sacred work that we're here to do together, not at the expense of each other. So, day 1, it's been an honor to be here. It's been an honor to share a little bit of my journey, a little bit of why God-led business, just to open up the space. If you end up catching the replay for this, please hashtag replay, tag me, interact as you're listening, and I will come in here and, of course, pop in here and check out the comments and things like that. Share this with your friends, if fellow agency owners, service providers that would enjoy this conversation, mentors, coaches. Share it with them, bring them here, let's do this, let's get loud, let's get this message out there, okay? It is such an honor to be here. It is so wonderful to have you here. I'm so grateful, I'm so excited. Yeah. My homework for you today is to actually answer those 2 questions that I asked at the beginning. Who are you? What are your roots? Why did you start the business that you started? What made you start it? Come back to that. Come back to that. I love you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me.